Good evening, Little Masters, and welcome, I'm going to say this and can't believe it, to episode 200 of the Prancing Pony podcast, where the old man takes no notice.
Wait, I'm sorry, what was that? I wasn't paying attention.
Well played, sir. Well played.
I am the old man now, so, you know.
Well, for a few months.
Lots more of that coming, folks. But hey, for now, go ahead and pull up a bench in the common room. I'm Sean Marchese, the real-life Lord of the Mark, and I'm here with the Man of the West, who is no longer young even in the reckoning of men of the ancient houses, Alan Sisto.
Well, that explains why I talk to myself a lot, Sean.
Yep.
Smartest guy in the room.
That's right.
Well, folks, today we're going to be talking about the second part of The White Rider. That's chapter 5 in book 3 of The Lord of the Rings. And it's when we are reunited with a dear old friend.
Reunited and it feels so good.
And that's all we're going to do.
It's the closest to singing in harmony we're ever going to get on this show, folks.
Yeah, we can't do
harmony. It's not very close at all. But hey.
It's not pretty. It's not a pretty sight.
Don't make me do it. Now, for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome.
And another apology.
And another apology.
In a row. Yeah.
Here at the Prancing Pony podcast, we are working our way through J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium a few pages at a time.
We study the details, we make connections to other writings, we talk about our favorite themes.
And we have a lot of fun, perhaps sometimes too much fun.
Sometimes too much, yeah.
Sometimes, but we're getting into it now. So at this point in the show, I think we can all say we're glad you've joined us.
We certainly are, and we hope that you'll be glad you joined as well.
Indeed. But before we dive into the text for today's episode, I think it's time for one of our new go-to intro segments, which is not to say that it's a new one, but it's one that we've been doing a whole lot this season. And I'm speaking, of course, of Meanwhile Elsewhere in Middle-earth. Alan, you want to start us off?
I do. Well, today is March 1st. Okay, it's March 7th in the real world when this episode releases, but it's March 1st with our three hunters. So we're going to take a look at a few of the things that have happened in recent days. We're going to start with 2 days ago, the Rohirrim destroying the orcs.
Okay, so that means that also 2 days ago, Merry and Pippin met Treebeard.
That's right.
Now, as for today, well, the Entmoot began yesterday and continues today.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, last night, the hobbits fell asleep to the sounds of Quickbeam singing.
That's right. We read that the next day they spent also in his company, but they did not go far from his house. Most of the time, they sat silent under the shelter of the bank, for the wind was colder and the clouds closer and grayer. There was little sunshine, and in the distance, the voices of the Ents at the moot still rose and fell, sometimes loud and strong, sometimes low and sad, sometimes quickening, sometimes slow and solemn as a dirge. A second night came, and still the Ents held conclave under hurrying clouds and fitful stars.
Seems like we were just there, just a few episodes ago.
Just a few.
Now, at the same time, Frodo and Sam are actually beginning the passage of the Dead Marshes today.
That's right.
And I'll read a little bit from Book 4 in reference to that. On either side and in front, wide fens and mires now lay, stretching away southward and eastward into the dim half-light. Mists curled and smoked from dark and noisome pools. The reek of them hung stifling in the still air. Far away, now almost due south, the mountain walls of Mordor loomed, like a black bar of rugged clouds floating above a dangerous, fog-bound sea. The hobbits were now wholly in the hands of Gollum. They did not know, and could not guess in that misty light, that they were in fact only just within the northern borders of the marshes, the main expanse of which lay south of them. They could, if they had known the lands, with some delay have retraced their steps a little, and then turning east have come round over hard roads to the bare plain of Dagorlad, the field of the ancient battle before the gates of Mordor. Not that there was great hope in such a course. On that stony plain there was no cover, and across it ran the highways of the orcs and the soldiers of the enemy. Not even the cloaks of Lorien would have concealed them there.
No. Well, also today, Faramir left Minas Tirith. Now, the Tale of Years tells us that Frodo and Sam were taken to Heneth-Anun by Faramir and his men on March 7th. And when we get to that chapter, we'll read about Frodo, who is explaining a bit about Aragorn's authority to Faramir. He says, "Because Aragorn is descended in direct lineage, father to father, from Isildur, Elendil's son himself, and the sword that he bears was Elendil's sword." A murmur of astonishment ran through all the ring of men. Some cried aloud, "The sword of Elendil! The sword of Elendil comes to Minas Tirith. Great tidings! But Faramir's face was unmoved. Maybe, he said, but so great a claim will need to be established, and clear proofs will be required should this Aragorn ever come to Minas Tirith. He had not come, nor any of your company, when I set out 6 days ago. So that's March 7th. He set out 6 days ago, March 1st. So there you have it. Now, we also wanted to explain a bit about why we are having to keep looking at the timeline, why Meanwhile Elsewhere in Middle-earth has become such a popular segment this season. Things were easy back in book 1. The entirety of that book covered 17 years.
Well, okay, yeah, that is technically true. I mean, I guess most of it, to be a bit more fair, most of it covers the 4 weeks after leaving the Shire.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
So that's September 23rd to October 20th. But yeah, you're right. When you think about it, yeah, it does technically cover 17 years.
Yeah. Once we get through the first 3 or 4 chapters, the rest of the book covers a month.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now then book 2 moves even more slowly than that. It actually covers about 4 months. So from October 24th to February 26th. Of course, a lot of that is time spent, hanging out in Lothlorien and not doing a whole lot. But
that's correct.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, book 3 so far has covered just 5 days.
Wow.
So it's a lot more dense with action. And so you'll have to forgive us if we return to this segment a lot going forward, just to keep our actions straight, to understand what's going on at the same time.
Well, yeah. And with all that interlacing that happens, there's so much going on.
Yeah. So many storylines.
Again, book 4 is at least centered on Frodo and Sam, and it's that one storyline. But this one is really back and forth between Merry and Pippin and the 3 hunters. And
then eventually they split up with Gandalf and Pippin going one way and Merry staying with, and then Aragorn gets his, it gets a little crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
For now, though, it's time to get back to what's happening on March 1st in this chapter. So, Sean, I'm going to have you pick up exactly where we left off at the end of last episode.
All right. The old man turned away and went towards a heap of fallen stones and rock at the foot of the cliff behind. Immediately, as if a spell had been removed, the others relaxed and stirred. Gimli's hand went at once to his axe haft. Aragorn drew his sword. Legolas picked up his bow. The old man took no notice, but stooped and sat himself on a low, flat stone. Then his gray cloak drew apart, and they saw beyond doubt that he was clothed beneath all in white. "Saruman!" cried Gimli, springing towards him with axe in hand. "Speak! Tell us where you have hidden our friends. What have you done with them? Speak, or I will make a dint in your hat that even a wizard will find it hard to deal with." The old man was too quick for him. He sprang to his feet and leaped to the top of a large rock. There he stood, grown suddenly tall, towering above them. His hood and his gray rags were flung away. His white garments shone. He lifted up his staff, and Gimli's axe leaped from his grasp and fell ringing on the ground. The sword of Aragorn, stiff in his motionless hand, blazed with a sudden fire. Legolas gave a great shout and shot an arrow high into the air. It vanished in a flash of flame. "Mithrandir!" he cried. "Mithrandir!" "Well met, I say to you again, Legolas," said the old man.
Yay! Woohoo!
Everybody stand up and cheer.
Yeah, this is the moment, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, man.
Well met. I love this. What a piece of storytelling this is. I am so jealous of the first-time readers.
I know. Oh, man.
And yet there's so few people who didn't see the movie first now. I mean, I think that's the one thing. This was a moment in the books that if you've never seen the films is just, I mean, your heart just leaps in your chest.
Yeah.
When you find out it's Gandalf. Oh,
yeah.
It's great. It's great.
It's a powerful moment. It's such a
really
powerful
is.
moment. It's such a great re-entrance into the story.
Isn't it? It is really certainly well done. I love it.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the beginning of the passage you read. So he turns around, and that's when the spell or the seeming spell lifts, and all 3 of them immediately prepare for action, right?
Yeah.
Gimli, hand on the haft. Aragorn actually draws his sword, so there's certainly an audible sound of the sword coming out of the sheath. Legolas gets his bow, picks it up off the ground, but oh boy. Boy.
The old man pays no attention to any of that. He
None.
completely chill, sits down, and then you see suddenly, clear now beneath this gray cloak that's been covering him, is all white.
Yeah, now you know what they're thinking.
We know who the white one is, right? Gimli says it out loud, names him Saruman, and leaps towards him with an axe. Of course, what else is he supposed to think?
Right. Of course he thinks it's Saruman. I mean, Gandalf's dead, and here's a wizard in white.
Dressed in white, yeah.
So he threatens him. I'm going to put a dent in your head or in your hat. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And tells him, tell us where you've hidden Merry and Pippin. Now, there's the argument. Remember we were talking before about needing an argument.
Ready to hand, yep.
There's his argument ready to hand right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the old man has a rebuttal to that argument.
Yes, he does. I shall rebut that argument.
And this is such a great action moment. The old man leaps into action quickly, leaping up to the top of the rock, towering above them. Kind of does the wizard thing again, right? This growing suddenly tall. There's this really visual moment.
Yes, very much like what he does with Bilbo. Yeah.
Exactly. And then his hood and his gray rags are tossed aside and the white garments just shine through.
Oh, brightly shining. I love this moment. And this is when he lifts up his staff and all of a sudden the weapons become useless.
Yeah.
Gimli's axe doesn't just fall, it leaps from his hands and falls. Aragorn's sword blazes with fire, which I suppose doesn't really make it useless.
It makes it a little hard to hold, though.
But it makes it a little hard to wield, yeah.
Too hot to handle, as they say.
Very much so. Very much. It's truly quite literally the Flame of the West right now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then Legolas has a really interesting reaction.
Yeah.
So he actually seems to recognize him just in time because he shouts out and then he actually manages to get a shot off, but he shoots it high into the air. And then what happens? The arrow vanishes in flame.
Oh, man. I love it.
And then we know that he's recognized him because then he cries out, Mithrandir.
Yes. And of course, it makes sense that Legolas would be the first to recognize him.
It does.
Probably known him the longest time. Aragorn's known him very, very well, but for less time, certainly, than Legolas would have.
Yeah,
one
definitely.
Imagines.
And then, oh, man, the most gangster moment of all when the old man greets him by name.
Gangster. I love it. Well met, I say to you.
Well met, I say to you again, Legolas. Oh, my
Great
gosh.
stuff. Oh, I love it. And I'm going to pick up exactly there because this scene does not need any cuts.
No.
We'll pick our spots in other places to not read, but this one we're going to keep reading.
Let's keep going.
They all gazed at him. His hair was white as snow in the sunshine, and gleaming white was his robe. The eyes under his deep brows were bright, piercing as the rays of the sun. Power was in his hand. Between wonder, joy, and fear, they stood and found no words to say. At last, Aragorn stirred. Gandalf, he said, beyond all hope you returned to us in our need. What veil was over my sight? Gandalf! Gimli said nothing, but sank to his knees, shading his eyes. Gandalf, the old man repeated, as if recalling from old memory a long disused word. Yes, that was the name. I was Gandalf. He stepped down from the rock and, picking up his great cloak, wrapped it about him. It seemed as if the sun had been shining, but now was hid in cloud again. Yes, you may still call me Gandalf, he said, and the voice was the voice of their old friend and guide. Get up, my good Gimli. No blame to you, no harm done to me. Indeed, my friends, none of you have any weapon that could hurt me. Be merry, we meet again, at the turn of the tide. The great storm is coming, but the tide has turned. He laid his hand on Gimli's head, and the dwarf looked up and laughed suddenly. Gandalf, he said, but you are all in white. Yes, I am white now, said Gandalf. Indeed, I am Saruman, one might almost say. Saruman as he should have been. But come now, tell me of yourselves. I have passed through fire and deep water since we parted. I have forgotten much that I thought I knew, and learned again much that I had forgotten. I can see many things far off, but many things that are close at hand I cannot see. Tell me of yourselves.
Oh my gosh, man.
Oh, I'm just getting chills in this. Just chills.
This chapter just doesn't let up. All right.
No, it doesn't. So much joy right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning of the passage that you just read. So, I mean, they've all recognized him at this point, and so now they're all just gazing at him, right? And though he's recognizable, there are definite changes here. Now his hair
differences,
is white as snow. He's got the white robe, bright piercing eyes under deep brows.
Yeah, there is something drastically changed about Gandalf here. Mm-hmm. And then we get that line about, and power was in his hand.
Wow.
That is some biblical language right there.
That is
Isn't
truly biblical sounding language for
This
sure.
is one of those moments where you really do sort of see that, and we'll talk about it later, probably next week when we talk about Gandalf's resurrection more.
Sort of the theological implications of this.
Yeah, sort of exactly. Yeah, amazing stuff. But their reaction is just total speechlessness. You almost want to know how long were they speechless, right?
I mean, again, what are they supposed to say? What are they supposed to do? We'll get to this in a minute, but there was no hope that he was ever coming back.
None.
And here he is.
He fell into a bottomless, essentially, not quite bottomless as we'll find out, pit.
But really, really, really deep. Yeah.
Yeah. With a Balrog stuck at the bottom, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. But Aragorn speaks finally after, who knows, 5 seconds, 30 seconds, I don't know. And he wonders why he didn't recognize him before. And then he calls him Gandalf, of course, because Legolas had just called him Mithrandir.
Right. And then Aragorn says what I was just now thinking of, which is this bit about beyond all hope you return, which I really love this because it's very straightforward on the surface because as we were just saying, like, who could ever hope that a friend, okay, who's not an elf, I guess, could return from
Glorfindel. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they probably know enough about elves to know that elves might come back, but who could ever hope that a friend could return from the dead?
Yeah.
So that's what he means. Beyond all hope you return. Nobody would ever hope. It would be a fool's hope.
Right.
And yet he has come back. And so Aragorn's wording here, I think it hints at a kind of hope beyond hope, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This to me strikes me as a very pure form of Estel. This is hope that the impossible could happen. This is hope
that nobody even bothers to have because it does seem, as you said, like a fool's hope. It seems pointless to hope it.
Right. And yet I'm thinking of the, Tolkien's description of eucatastrophe, right?
Yes.
And how it can never be counted on to come.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And yet here it has. This is a eucatastrophic moment where Gandalf has impossibly come back from the dead at the turn of the tide, as he says quite iconically. And of course, I mean, this is hope beyond hope. This is, again, this is just like
pure
Estel beyond Estel. This is like hope that eucatastrophes are a thing. And I just love it. It's amazing.
It is. It is a really, really powerful moment for that reason. You're right. Huge hope moment, huge eucatastrophe moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get this great moment where, as Aragorn has called him Gandalf, the old man hesitates. He kind of, you can see him sort of processing this
There are some who call me Gandalf.
Well played. Well played. But it's like he's recalling a very old memory. It's like, that's a name I've not been called in a long time.
Another good one. Well played, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, Obi-Wan.
But
That's great.
Now I feel like I've ruined it now.
So many memes.
Obi-Wan. Yes, Obi-Wan. But that's kind of his moment. He's like, yes, I was Gandalf, wasn't I?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not on my driver's license or anything, but yeah.
No, now I'm just Ben, but I was.
That's right.
Gandalf.
It was Obi-Wan.
Gandalf
back when I knew your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he puts on his cloak and it's like the sun going behind a cloud. You know what that's like. Well, maybe you do. You might remember your days in California when you still saw the sun and it still went behind the clouds in the summer.
We have sun and clouds in Texas.
I figured you had them all at once or not at all, right? That you either have these like scalding hot sun bright in the sky or super cloudy tornadoes going to strike at any minute kind of sky.
No, we do have occasional days like you're describing.
Okay. So he puts on his cloak.
Speaking of recalling very old memories. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like the sun all of a sudden going behind a cloud. Everything kind of goes shadowy again, a little dim. That brightness, those harsh shadows, the bright light is gone. And now his voice is once again suddenly familiar. It's the voice of their old friend and guide. I love that moment.
Yeah.
It's just so comforting. So friendship, I mean, this is that deep abiding love that they have for Gandalf. And this reminder, okay, he's not only back, it's the same guy.
Yeah. Well, my heart kind of skips a beat to think about it because it's this very tense moment of confrontation between the old man who just moments ago they thought was Saruman. And there's a physical confrontation. Kind of one-sided.
About ready to chop that's true.
Nobody's going to land a hit on the old man.
No, you have no weapons that can hurt me, which we'll get to. Yeah.
But there is a moment of physicality here. And then suddenly it's like, okay, the crisis is over. This is our old friend. And
But even then, there's still a moment of hesitancy or
of like,
fear. Like,
what is going on here? Yeah.
right. Who
And
is
then
this?
when
How can he possibly be
You're
back?
right. And then when he speaks, that's the moment.
Well, but he hesitates on the name, like Gandalf. Oh, yeah, that was me. You can keep calling me that. That's me.
Right. And so it's like the remembrance of who he was, and that's kind of the moment when
And that's
everything
when he becomes their old
that's
friend
when
and
it's
guide.
safe again. Yeah.
Yes, it is. You're right. There's a safety there, I think, that all of
Yeah.
a sudden finally clicks into place.
Yeah.
And then he speaks kindly to Gimli, which I love. Just such a sweet thing to say to him. You know, get up, my good. No blame to you. No harm, no foul. I love that. It's just neat.
That is super cool, as well as the reason that there's no harm and there's not going to be any harm. He points out something which is kind of amazing if you stop to think about it. None of them have weapons that could hurt him.
That really is amazing, because do I need to remind you what sword Aragorn is carrying?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
yeah, the sword is kind of a big deal.
If there's a sword +3, that can actually make a hit on a guy like Gandalf, it would be Anduril.
Right.
Narsil Reforged.
Right.
And yet even that weapon couldn't possibly hurt him right now.
Yeah. And yet that moment just passes by. Like, none of you has any weapons that could hurt me. And nobody's like, what are you talking about, man? I've got Anduril.
Right.
Legolas, like, I've got like the finest bow that Mirkwood elves can make. And he's like, no, sorry. You got nothing, guys.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
But they don't even have that moment, because he just says that and everybody's like, yeah, I totally believe that. I totally believe that.
There's evidence for that. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Doesn't even take me by surprise. No.
Yeah. But, oh man, this moment of just, hey, be merry. We're back together again. And the tide is turning.
Yes.
The storm is coming, but the tide is turned.
That's right. Things are now going to go our direction. It's still going to be dark. The storm is still coming, but the circumstances are headed in the right direction now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when Gimli observes, do you know that you're wearing white? And that kind of makes you like the Saruman guy that we're supposed to, not trust.
Right.
But that's when you get that amazing line, the one that I really didn't want to make it sound like the movie. The cadence is so iconic, that he's Saruman as he should have been. He is the ideal. He is the template. He is the type, the archetype, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And I think we'll cover this a bit more next episode when we have a little sidebar, or a couple of sidebars.
Massive sidebar, right? When half the episode is the sidebar. Yeah.
Yeah. For now, let's just go ahead and assume that he stopped at the laundromat on his way over.
And just added a little too much bleach. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's all that Galadriel had, as we'll find out. Again, next episode, I think. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, I'm Saruman as he should have been. But now, tell me what's going on with you guys. He wants news. He says, I've passed through fire and deep water. I want to know what's been going on.
Yeah, he wants news, because truth is, he's forgotten much that he knew. So you're going to actually have to tell him things that he once knew. But interestingly, he'd learned things that he'd long thought he'd forgotten.
That's another one that comment passes by with...
It does, with no comment.
Yeah, with no comment at all. It's like, learn things he'd forgotten. I mean, well, again, we'll get back into this, but...
Yeah, I think that's referring to his time in the Timeless Halls when he's upgraded.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we'll talk about that more next week, no doubt. But then, of course, he also appears to need a good optometrist. I can see many things far off, but many things close at hand I cannot see. I need bifocals.
Gimli gets out the big thing with all the lenses on it. Which one's better, 4,
6, or 7,
or 5?
4 or 5? Because they always ask you twice.
Yep, 4 or 5.
No. And they got to give him the drops, the ones that kind of hurt that make your eyes all weird. Yeah.
Dilate his eyes a little bit.
Exactly.
Give him the plastic sunglasses, the disposable sunglasses to wear. Don't drive.
And then this is going to feel weird. We're going to touch the surface of your eye, Gandalf. Tink. Ow, don't do that, man.
It always feels weirder than you think it's going to feel.
It does. It feels so weird. And of course, I'm saying all this because I have an optometrist appointment in 2 days, so I'm a little anxious. Can you tell?
Having worn glasses since I was a kid, it's like I've been through this many times, and every time I'm like, I got this. It's cool. Go ahead. Touch the eyeball. Oh, no, you touched the eyeball.
No, don't touch the eyeball. You should know better. You can't touch the eyeball.
Oh, that's not right.
No, and that's about what I think every time. Like, why are you doing this? Isn't there some sort of technology that you can use that won't make you touch my eyeball, please?
Seriously.
Yeah. No, I of course didn't have to wear glasses until I was long past childhood. I think it was 45 when I first got a pair of glasses. But
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually had better than 20/20
Oh man, look
Like
at
when
you.
I was Air Force ROTC in college and stuff. But,
Man, you could have been a pilot.
eventually your eyes age. I remember my
Yeah.
optometrist at like 44, 45 saying, yeah, what happens? Just the muscles. You can't do anything about it. I'm like, dude, can I lift? I mean, can I work those muscles so that I don't need glasses? Is there an exercise at the gym that I can
Doing
do
little
for 'em?
bench presses with your eyeballs.
Eye benches, eye curls.
That's just
Can I do
weird.
any of those things, dude? What about protein powder?
That's
No.
just weird, man.
I'm kidding. So anyway,
Oh.
we digress.
Yes, we
yeah.
do.
So, he can interestingly see things that are far off, but the things that are close, he has a hard time perceiving,
Mhm.
I guess would be a better way to put that.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that's just because again, we'll get into this next time. Maybe it's just because he's retuned into his Ainu nature a bit. And
I think so. He's now having to shift perspective from this eternal and really outside of Arda perspective, because he did in fact leave the world and get sent back. That's huge. And so he's gone from the massively macro back to this little micro. Yeah.
Back in this earthly body. And he's probably just still getting used to being finite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely makes sense.
I don't mean that literally. I know the Ainu are finite beings, but you know what I mean? Like being bound in an earthly form again.
Yes. Yeah. From being a totally freed spirit without his body.
Right.
Yeah.
More on that next time.
I guess the analogy would really work if you're sticking with the eye thing. The idea of, you spend the next half an hour gazing off in the distance, trying to make out a license plate on a car that's a half a mile away, and you're squinting your eyes in the distance. And then suddenly your phone rings and you have to look down at your phone. And of course it's totally blurry because your eyes are...
It takes a little time to refocus.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what's happening here. He's having a very hard time going from that macro to the micro. And I'm sure that's a big part of it. But he repeats again, tell me of yourselves. And that's where you're going to go ahead and pick up.
Yeah. And folks will be happy to know that we're actually skipping one sentence. Or two sentences.
Yeah, well, we have to skip some.
Right. And I'm going to pick up in the middle of Aragorn's dialogue in the next paragraph.
Yeah.
Will you not first give us news of the hobbits? Did you find them, and are they safe? No, I did not find them, said Gandalf. There was a darkness over the valleys of the Aemon Muil, and I did not know of their captivity until the eagle told me. The eagle, said Legolas. I have seen an eagle high and far off. The last time was 4 days ago, above the Aemon Muil. Yes, said Gandalf. That was Gwaihir the Windlord, who rescued me from Orthanc. I sent him before me to watch the river and gather tidings. His sight is keen, but he cannot see all that passes under hill and tree. Some things he has seen, and others I have seen myself. The ring now has passed beyond my help, or the help of any of the company that set out from Rivendell. Very nearly it was revealed to the enemy, but it escaped. I had some part in that, for I sat in a high place, and I strove with the dark tower, and the shadow passed. Then I was weary, very weary, and I walked long in dark thought. Then you know about Frodo, said Gimli. How do things go with him? I cannot say. He was saved from a great peril, but many lie before him still.
Indeed they do. So Aragorn points out, look, catching you up is going to take a long time. Can you first tell us about the hobbits? And that's how we get into this a little bit.
Yeah, and Gandalf says that he hasn't found them. He didn't even know that they were captured until the eagle told him.
Until the what now? Wait, what? I love that. Just casually throw out the eagle. Until the eagle told me. But Legolas, of course, remembers seeing one a few times before. Let's go back to that in the text. Later, as the sun was setting and the company was stirring and getting ready to start again, Aragorn descried a dark spot against the fading light, a great bird, high and far off, now wheeling, now flying on slowly southwards. What is that, Legolas? He asked, pointing to the northern sky. Is it, as I think, an eagle? Yes, said Legolas. It is an eagle, a hunting eagle. I wonder what that forebodes. It is far from the mountains.
Right. And then, right before hearing the horn of Boromir, Aragorn turned from the north back again to north, and saw nothing save the distant hills, unless it were that far away he could see again a great bird like an eagle high in the air, descending slowly in wide circles down towards the earth.
That's right. That was on Amon Hen. Now, finally, as the three hunters descended from the Aemon Muil, look, cried Legolas, pointing up into the pale sky above them. There is the eagle again. He is very high. He seems to be flying now away from this land back to the north. He's going with great speed. Look." "No, not even my eyes can see him, my good Legolas," said Aragorn. "He must be far aloft indeed. I wonder what is his errand if he is the same bird that I have seen before."
There you go.
And now we know. Yeah.
And Gandalf confirms for them, "Yep, that's the eagle. That's the one you guys have seen."
That's the guy.
And that wasn't just any eagle. That was Gwaihir the Windlord, the very same eagle who rescued me from Orthanc, if you remember that story. And I had asked him to gather some tidings.
Yeah, get some news for me, right.
Mm-hmm.
And he did get some news, and he passes that along to the three hunters. Speaking of which, he says, "The ring has now passed beyond any of our help."
Mm-hmm.
It was nearly revealed atop Amon Hen, as a matter of fact.
Wow. It doesn't really occur to you when you're reading that passage at the end of Fellowship, like how close Frodo comes
the
to
danger. Yeah.
Yeah. How close he is to failing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he doesn't. And we learn now explicitly, and I think we did talk about this, that Gandalf played a part in preventing that. So Gandalf played his part in that, but it cost him. After striving with Sauron in that way, he was very weary and then spent some time long in dark thought.
That's right. Remember, we said this is March 1st? Well, that incident on Amon Hen was on February 26th. It was 5 days ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And yet Gandalf has actually been back since February 15th.
That's true. And we will find out more about that next week.
Yeah.
Now, Gimli, of course, goes on to ask, how are things going with Frodo? But, Gandalf can't really tell him much.
Yeah. I mean, all he really knows is that he resolved to set out alone.
Right. But Legolas has some good news for him in that regard, part that we didn't read. He passes along the good news that Sam went with Frodo, or at least they believe that he did. The evidence suggests that. And Gandalf has a wonderful reaction to that. It's just a beautiful one.
Yeah. Yeah, he really does. Gleam in his eye and a smile on his face. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. And so now, Gandalf, now with a lighter heart at this news, asks them to tell their tale.
And we'll get to that. But before Aragorn explains, no, there is too much. Let him sum up. We wanted to remind you a couple of new things on our website. First up, our inaugural PPP Moot is coming. It is going to run from May 14th to 16th, and you are going to want to visit our website, theprancingponypodcast.com, for more information and to register.
We are so excited about this, and we can't wait for all of you guys to join us. One of our keynote speakers is going to be Dr. Amy Sturgis. Now, she's taught courses on everything from Tolkien and Harry Potter to Star Wars and Star Trek, and she's honestly just a fantastic speaker.
She really is, yeah.
Yeah, we saw her at last year's Myth Moot, and we're really looking forward to having her join us.
We really are. And our other keynote speaker is a previous guest here on the Prancing Pony podcast, Dr. Michael Drought, who joined us all the way back in episode 66. He edited the J.R.R. Tolkien Encyclopedia. He's a co-editor for Tolkien Studies. He's been involved with Lord of the Rings Online. And we kind of indirectly reference him all the time when it comes to the epistemic regime and Eöl Ente work. We are thrilled to have him join us as well.
Absolutely. Now, the theme for this first ever PPP Moot is digital recovery, the many ways we find fairy online and regain a clear view from virtual communities and online fandom. We have got a full slate of presentations for you.
Oh, we do. What, about a dozen, maybe 14 papers?
Something like that, plus some other things.
Discussions. Oh.
We've got some other special guests lined up, and we've got a lot of fun social events as well, including a pub quiz and a live AMA-style episode recording. So please plan on joining us.
That is right. We are going to be recording an episode live while we're there. Going to be a lot of fun. Now, by the time you hear this, our event page should be up and running, so you can take a look at the schedule, check out our keynote speakers, and most importantly, register to attend the 3-day event. Now, we have worked really hard to make our moot as accessible to as many people as possible, both in terms of time zones and cost. It's only $25 for the whole thing if you sign up by March 31st. Now, the price is going to go up to $35 starting on April 1st, so get that early bird discount by going to theprancingponypodcast.com and signing up today.
Please do. And of course, our website still has all the rest of the good stuff there as well. Show notes and outtakes and Prancing Pony Ponderings, as well as our online storefront where you can get PPP shirts, mugs, stickers, and more.
Now, one of the best resources we have is our all-new library. Our web guru, Phil Dean, has worked hard on redesigning the library, and it shows. Now, as you know, we love the books here at the Prancing Pony Podcast, and we want to make sure you can get your hands on any of the books that we mention here.
Yeah, we may talk about a lot of Tolkien-related stuff on the podcast, but at heart, Alan and I are fans of Tolkien's books and books about Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have the library page, with links to every book we've mentioned on the show.
Now, we do make a few pennies from the purchases that you make from those links, so we thank you for your support. All right, well, let's go ahead and pick back up here with Aragorn telling his story.
All right.
The companions sat on the ground at his feet, and Aragorn took up the tale. For a long while, Gandalf said nothing, and he asked no questions. His hands were spread upon his knees, and his eyes were closed. At last, when Aragorn spoke of the death of Boromir and of his last journey upon the great river, the old man sighed. "You have not said all that you know or guess, Aragorn, my friend," he said quietly. "Poor Boromir, I could not see what happened to him. It was a sore trial for such a man, a warrior and lord of men. Galadriel told me that he was in peril, but he escaped in the end. I am glad. It was not in vain that the young hobbits came with us, if only for Boromir's sake. But that is not the only part they have to play. They were brought to Fangorn, and their coming was like the falling of small stones that starts an avalanche in the mountains. Even as we talk here, I hear the first rumblings. Saruman had best not be caught away from home when the dam bursts. In one thing you have not changed, dear friend," said Aragorn. "You still speak in riddles." "What? In riddles?" said Gandalf. "No, for I was talking aloud to myself. A habit of the old. They choose the wisest person present to speak to. Long explanations needed by the young are wearying." He laughed, but the sound now seemed warm and kindly as a gleam of sunshine. Oh, I love that.
Gandalf's back, man.
Yes, he is. Very clearly back. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Aragorn starts telling the story. Gandalf does not interrupt. He asks for news, and he is receiving it all.
He's listening intently, isn't he?
He's listening intently. He really is.
You can really see him with his eyes closed, his hands on his knees. He's sort of leaning forward a little bit, maybe tilting his head, but he's not saying a word. He's just taking it all in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in case we weren't sure, we know that he doesn't know any of this because, I mean, he reacts to the news, doesn't he? Aragorn tells him about Boromir's death and the funeral journey.
That's when Gandalf finally speaks. Yeah.
Yeah. He sighs and then he speaks.
Yeah. And his first comment, by the way, seems to be an aside to Aragorn before he speaks out loud, right? He says quietly, "You've not said all that you know or guess." Then he speaks. Poor Boromir, I couldn't see what happened to him. I'm not saying he was hiding that from Legolas and Gimli, but it's clear it's more of an under his breath sort of thing that Aragorn knew more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, we've got this great bit about Boromir's death. I mean,
I know.
A sore trial for such a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then this very enticing bit that I think we'll get into next time about Galadriel said that he was in peril.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, Galadriel said it. What do you mean Galadriel said it?
Right. You've seen Galadriel?
When was this? Right.
Yeah. Obviously, it would have had to have been after he returned.
Right.
And we'll get into that next time. But yeah, it has not been stated yet.
No. And then we get the fact that he escaped that peril. And I want to talk about that a little bit, both the peril and the escape, because, again, this is a topic that we have touched on and we are returning to it again, but it's an important one about Boromir. So what's the peril? Let's identify that peril. It's the peril of succumbing to the ring.
Yeah, so the peril of losing his soul, basically.
Yeah.
Succumbing to the ring.
Becoming yet another wraith, really. I mean, if he takes that ring and succeeds,
Or becoming a Dark Lord like Sauron, though he would never...
That's true, yeah.
He wouldn't hold on to it for long, I'm sure.
No, he wouldn't, and then he'd be tormented for the rest of eternity.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the peril. And then he escaped that.
Right, and he escaped that not really through his own means, did he?
No, that's true. I mean, he was killed. he escaped.
Well, yeah, I was thinking initially of Frodo running away, but you're right.
Oh, well, that, yeah. Well, no, but, I mean, we talked about, no, that's fair. But I mean, we talked about, like, what if Boromir had, I don't know, been reunited with Frodo? Like, would he have passed the test at that point?
Right.
Frodo
would he have been in danger of trying to take it again?
And I think he would. I think, ultimately, and forgive me for skipping ahead to the end, but really it's his death that, it's his death that allows him to escape.
That's the redemptive act too.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that proves his repentance.
Yeah.
And that's why Gandalf says Merry and Pippin, their presence on this journey was important, even if the only thing was what they did for Boromir.
Right.
That they're being captured and Boromir's protecting them until they couldn't anymore. That was important for Boromir's eternal soul.
Yeah, that saved his soul. Absolutely.
Yeah. Amazing redemption.
And that would have been enough
Mm-hmm.
if they had not done anything else. And yet they did do something
And
else,
yet they did.
right?
That's right. Yes.
Because Merry and Pippin have also played another part that we've seen by now in starting an avalanche of very large trees.
That's not an avalanche I want to be caught in. I mean, I don't want to be caught in any avalanche, but one made up of very large trees is even worse than one made
Very
of
large, angry trees who like to take their time with things.
Yeah.
Not something you really want to...
And break rocks and all sorts of fun things. Yeah. Saruman is in seriously, seriously deep trouble here.
Yeah. And I love that Gandalf actually says Saruman had best not be caught away from home when the dam bursts.
Yeah.
Which is literally a thing that is going to happen.
That is true. It is quite literally a thing that will happen.
Yeah. I can't help but wonder, is there some subtle foreknowledge here? You know, does Gandalf
maybe
get little glimpses of the future?
Well, he'd certainly know that the Eisen had been stopped up because he was on the top of Orthanc for a while, so he would have seen that.
And so it stands to reason that breaking the dam is something that they're going to do when they get there.
Gandalf's a smart guy. He knows his tactics. Yeah,
exactly. But Aragorn, of course, doesn't see the literal truth of that. He says, you know, hey, you're still talking in riddles. Like, who are you, Kosh from B5, right?
It is too late for the pebbles to vote.
That's the one.
I love that line. Man, I love that show.
Yep.
I love Gandalf's hilarious reply, by the way, to Aragorn's comment about still speaking in riddles. I am going to have to steal this. I want to use it now, but the truth is I need to wait until I'm old. Thank you very much.
So like in a couple of weeks?
Wow. I set myself up for that.
You did. You really
regret that. Oh, man. Yeah. So talk to myself because I'm speaking to the wisest person present. And I love the reason
that
for
is kind
it.
of awesome. Yeah.
The long explanations needed by the young are wearying. He's not wrong. You've explained things to your kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, wow. And then they ask about that thing, and then they ask about that thing. And you're like, man, it's taken me 45 minutes to explain how a doorbell works.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. Especially when you start talking about, like, you know, oh, you know, I used to call your mother on the phone, you know, and I'd have to share the phone with my family. What do you mean you shared your phone with your family? Because we only had one phone in the house. Why was there only one phone in the house? Because it was plugged into the wall. What do you mean it was plugged into the wall?
Landline. What's a landline? Oh, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Or I remember when they used to page me and I had to go find a payphone. And they're like, what's a pager?
Right.
What's a payphone?
Why didn't you just call her right back? Because I didn't have a phone, you know?
There was no such thing. Yeah. Let alone one in which you could, you know, access the entirety of the world's collective knowledge.
The collective knowledge of human existence.
All in your
pocket. Yeah.
And yet people still just want to post pictures of cats and argue about politics. Oh, man.
Pictures of cats I'm fine with. But
yeah. No, I know.
Yeah,
no, I agree. It just seems a little shallow. I mean, when they get pictures of dogs instead.
Oh, man. I did walk into that one, I suppose.
Who's a good dog? Who's a good dog?
Who's a good
Don't answer
boy?
that. Don't answer that, Huon. I don't want you to tell me.
Who's a good boy, Huon? I am.
Ruby Rags.
All
right. Well, our digressions have gone on long enough.
You think?
Sean, I'm going to have you pick up with Aragorn's line that really feels like I'm being called out.
Indeed it does. All right. The old guy's talking here.
Yeah.
I am no longer young even in the reckoning of men of the ancient houses, said Aragorn. Will you not open your mind more clearly to me? What then shall I say? Said Gandalf, and paused for a while in thought. This, in brief, is how I see things at the moment, if you wish to have a piece of my mind as plain as possible. The enemy, of course, has long known that the ring is abroad, and that it is borne by a hobbit. He knows now the number of our company that set out from Rivendell, and the kind of each of us. But he does not yet perceive our purpose clearly. He supposes that we were all going to Minas Tirith, for that is what he would himself have done in our place. And according to his wisdom, it would have been a heavy stroke against his power. Indeed, he is in great fear, not knowing what mighty one may suddenly appear, wielding the ring and assailing him with war, seeking to cast him down and take his place. That we should wish to cast him down and have no one in his place is not a thought that occurs to his mind. that we should try to destroy the ring itself has not yet entered into his darkest dream, in which, no doubt, you will see our good fortune and our hope. For imagining war, he has let loose war, believing that he has no time to waste. For he that strikes the first blow, if he strikes it hard enough, may need to strike no more. So the forces that he has long been preparing, he is now setting in motion, sooner than he intended. Wise fool! For if he had used all his power to guard Mordor so that none could enter, and bent all his guile to the hunting of the ring, then indeed hope would have faded. Neither ring nor bearer could long have eluded him.
No, they couldn't. That's true.
No.
So going back to the top of that, the enemy knows the ring is carried by a hobbit, and he also knows there are 9 of them, and he knows all their kinds.
Yep.
But this is important. He doesn't know the purpose. He thinks that the company, and I understand why he thinks this, they're heading to Minas Tirith to fight.
Well, yeah, Gandalf tells us exactly why he thinks this. It's because that's what he would do. And that's what he fears. He's wondering who would replace him, which...
Right.
I mean, okay, let's look at the different possibilities of what could be going on here. Option A is what Sauron's assuming, which is that the good guys are going to pick somebody to replace him.
Right. Somebody to usurp the throne. Yeah.
Right.
Option B, casting him down, but not having anybody in his place. That isn't even something he's thought about.
Right. And then option C, destroying the ring itself, that hasn't even showed up in his darkest dream. Why would it?
No.
He would never imagine that.
Not even,
would want to do that.
If somebody came to him with that idea, he'd be like, you've got to be kidding. That's not
right.
No, not going to happen.
And that's exactly why it's the right option.
That is exactly right. Yeah, you've got to do the thing that is least expected here. Yeah. So he thinks that war is coming, right? He thinks option A.
Right.
And so he's going to strike the first blow sooner than he'd originally planned.
Right.
And, if that were the case, that would actually be the smartest idea. Yeah, it's the first blow, we oft go astray, that sort of thing.
Sure.
But with the might that he has, if that's what we were trying to do, he would defeat us before we could even use the ring.
Oh, he's got the numbers. If they were planning on open war, absolutely. He would defeat them before they could do anything. But it is actually foolish because, as we know, of course, option C is the case.
Right.
They're actually trying to get into Mordor to destroy the ring. And now, because he's sent his armies out to war, now he can't guard Mordor as effectively.
That's right.
And so because of that, it's a good thing his messengers have failed.
Oh, it's a real good thing. I mean, it's always a good thing when his people fail. But in this case, it's especially good because we have the instant failure of them finding the ring, which they didn't do.
Right.
But also, they'd failed to take any hobbits hostage. And boy, that's a good thing because the thought of them undergoing a little interrogation at the Dark Tower is a terrible thought.
It is a terrible thought because of how much we love the hobbits. It's also a terrible thought because of the information he would gain from that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is. That would have been
game over.
Fatal blow. Yeah, as Gandalf said in the passage we didn't read. Right.
Right. And his failure is thanks to Saruman.
Right. Thanks to Saruman. Well, that's kind of a weird thing to say. And Gimli has a thought on that, and that's where I'm going to pick up.
Yep.
Then is not Saruman a traitor? Said Gimli. Indeed, yes, said Gandalf. Doubly. And is not that strange? Nothing that we have endured of late has seemed so grievous as the treason of Isengard. Even reckoned as a lord and captain, Saruman has grown very strong. He threatens the men of Rohan and draws off their help from Minas Tirith, even as the main blow is approaching from the east. Yet, a treacherous weapon is ever a danger to the hand. Saruman also had a mind to capture the ring for himself, or at least to snare some hobbits for his evil purposes. So between them, our enemies have contrived only to bring Merry and Pippin with marvellous speed and in the nick of time to Fangorn, where otherwise they would never have come at all. Also, they have filled themselves with new doubts that disturb their plans. No tidings of the battle will come to Mordor, thanks to the horsemen of Rohan. But the Dark Lord knows that 2 hobbits were taken in the Immen Muil and borne away towards Isengard against the will of his own servants. He now has Isengard to fear as well as Minas Tirith. If Minas Tirith falls, it will go ill with Saruman. It is a pity that our friends lie in between, said Gimli. If no land divided Isengard and Mordor, then they could fight while we watched and waited. The victor would emerge stronger than either, and free from doubt, said Gandalf. But Isengard cannot fight Mordor, unless Saruman first obtains the ring. That he will never do now. He does not yet know his peril. There is much that he does not know.
Hmm.
He thinks he knows everything, but he doesn't know a lot of things.
That's always a recipe for disaster.
Such a dangerous place to be. You
Yep.
think you're in command of all the facts, and there
Yeah.
are a ton of very important details that you just
That
don't
you
know.
don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you were saying, Gimli asked this question like, hey, so is Saruman on our side? Should we send him a
Yeah.
fruit basket, invite him to the next council meeting? Something,
Yeah,
hey,
fruit
is he
basket's good. Yeah.
is he back with the good guys? Like, no.
No.
He's still a traitor, doubly so, because he's betrayed
Yeah.
us and now Sauron.
Yeah.
And also, he can still do some real damage, right? He still
Yeah.
threatens Rohan, and he's preventing
Right.
them from helping Gondor because they're distracted.
They can't fight a two-front war. They've got to deal
Right.
with Saruman. They can't send help to Minas Tirith.
Right.
But then he uses this great line that a treacherous weapon is ever a danger to the hand. I love that.
Mm,
And it's true. Sauron's trying to use Saruman. And Saruman's not just some tool to be used. He is a treacherous weapon, and he is a danger to the hand of Sauron.
he has his own agenda. Yeah.
Yes, he absolutely does. And so Saruman tries to do exactly what you'd think he'd try to do, which is capture the ring. I mean, he's always been fascinated with the rings. That's his area of study.
And yet, Spabimi, because all of this, the treachery, the fall of Saruman, all of that has resulted in Merry and Pippin coming here to Fangorn, where they would never have come otherwise.
Never. Not a chance. I mean, we talked about that. What would the company have done in other circumstances? Like if Gandalf hadn't died, or even if he had, what if the company had been able to reach a decision together at Parth Galen?
Mm-hmm.
They never would have ended up coming to Fangorn. That was never on their radar.
Right. Well, and remember some of our discussions about fate and the Hand of Iluvatar.
That's true. Yeah.
And the way that,
The intervention that kind of causes
to get these
different
things
directions.
in motion, get the pieces in motion to go in a direction that nobody could have foreseen.
Right. I mean, Merry and Pippin still had to have the conversations. The Ents still had to have their moot. They still had free choice, free will, decision to make. But they never even would have had the opportunity to make that decision without Merry and Pippin coming and being that catalyst.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And of course, the Rohirrim's success, going back to some more Spabimi events, that means Mordor won't hear about the battle. But
no, that's right. But they will hear about Saruman and his attempt to take two hobbits away.
That's right.
From the Aemon Rule. And so now Sauron is going to know that Saruman has betrayed him.
Yeah. And Gimli just, wants a death match between Saruman and Sauron. I can't blame him. Just fight it out.
I can't blame him either.
Gondor.
No,
yeah.
I can't either. I would love to see that.
That would be fun. In this corner, weighing in at an eternity old. And in this corner, also weighing in at an eternity old. But in a weaker body, Saruman the White.
Yep. They went to high school together in the class of Aule. Yeah.
The class of Aule. That is true. They did go to the class of Aule. No doubt about that.
I mean, I'm with Gimli here. I would love to see them just fight it out. And I would think that whoever survives that is going to come out of it weaker. But obviously Gandalf's got another thought on it.
He does. And, his point is that now you'd have somebody who didn't have to worry about anybody else being against him.
Right.
The winner would be stronger. Yeah, maybe the winner would have fewer forces remaining.
Lost some forces, but they would have that conviction on their side.
Much stronger position and no need to fear about a multi-front war.
That's exactly it.
And so they'd be able to focus their forces more effectively, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely right. And that's why Gandalf is Gandalf, folks.
Yeah, he is wise. Gandalf the Wise. Yes, that's what they call me. You may call me Gandalf the Wise. Always use the wise. I like the adjective.
I like that. Don't forget it.
Yeah.
Gandalf. Exactly. Gandalf the what?
You mean Gandalf the Wise?
Gandalf the what?
Not just Gandalf the Friendly or Gandalf the Advisor. No, Gandalf the Wise, please. Thank you very much.
Mr. the Wise.
That would be me, yes.
Speaking of the Wise, he also makes the correct observation that Saruman stands no chance.
Oh, no chance. No chance.
Without the ring. Isengard can't fight Mordor unless he gets
drops
the ring
in the bucket compared.
Yeah.
Maybe your forces are a little more elite in terms of their percentage. You've got a lot of the Uruk-hai. They are better fighting orcs than the ordinary orc of Mordor.
True. But still,
quantity has a quality all its own, and they have the Nazgul.
Yeah.
You're toast. You've got
Absolutely.
no chance. None at all.
And by the way, you've got no chance of getting the ring now because Frodo is gone on his way to Mordor, out of your reach.
You can't possibly get the ring now.
Nope.
Yeah. If anybody's going to get the ring now, it is Sauron.
Yeah.
And if that happens, you're toast. Granted, you're toast after Minas Tirith, after Gondor, and after Rohan. But yeah, you will not make it.
Toast eventually.
You're done. That's right. Eventual toast.
Eventual toast. Toast in waiting.
What happened? Well, I put the toaster in the toaster oven, but I forgot to hit the start button. So it's eventually toast. Anyway. All right. I'm going to have you pick up later in that same paragraph with a line that I really want to spend some time on when we get to it. But folks, you'll hear it when he gets there. Go ahead.
All right. I look into his mind and I see his doubt. He has no woodcraft. He believes that the horsemen slew and burned all upon the field of battle. But he does not know whether the orcs were bringing any prisoners or not. And he does not know of the quarrel between his servants and the orcs of Mordor, nor does he know of the winged messenger. The winged messenger, cried Legolas. I shot at him with the bow of Galadriel above San Gabier, and I felled him from the sky. He filled us all with fear. What new terror is this? One that you cannot slay with arrows, said Gandalf. You only slew his steed. It was a good deed, but the rider was soon horsed again. For he was a Nazgul, one of the 9, who ride now upon winged steeds. Soon their terror will overshadow the last armies of our friends, cutting off the sun. But they have not yet been allowed to cross the river, and Saruman does not know of this new shape in which the ring-wraiths have been clad. His thought is ever on the ring. Was it present in the battle? Was it found? What if Theoden, Lord of the Mark, should come by it and learn of its power? That is the danger that he sees, and he has fled back to Isengard to double and treble his assault on Rohan. And all the time there is another danger close at hand, which he does not see, busy with his fiery thoughts. He has forgotten Treebeard.
That's not a good idea.
Don't sleep on Treebeard.
No. And you don't want to hook up a hammock and sleep with him either, like right next to him.
No.
He's going to be upset about that.
Yeah, don't literally sleep on Treebeard.
No. So Saruman may know a lot.
That was awful. That was such a dad joke, dude.
That was. I know. Well, we're dads, so
yeah, I know.
Make those every now and then. Yeah, don't sleep on him, please. Saruman may know a lot, but there is a lot that he does not know, and that's the trouble. He doesn't even know what he doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he got impatient. He came out to spy on his messengers, but he was too late. And Gandalf says, I look into his mind and I see his doubt.
Yeah, I had you start there because I want to talk about that. What is this ability? Is this sort of... So, we've talked before about Osanwe, about this ability to communicate over distance, telepathically, if you will.
Yeah.
But we talk about it with the idea that the other mind has to be open. I can't imagine Saruman is open to anybody, certainly not to Gandalf. So does this imply that maybe Gandalf has the ability to penetrate that now, like a Psychop?
Bester.
It's
He's
Bester.
a P12.
Bester, all in white robes with long white hair, but still like 5'4". Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it implies. I mean, because
I think so.
we know from the Osanwe Kenta, which it's been a while since we talked about it. So it's published in Vinyar Tengwar. That's technically a linguistic journal, but it's got this really cool bit on Osanwe or telepathy in it. And we know from that Osanwe is kind of the natural way of communication for the Ainur, and even could have been a natural way of communication for the Incarnates as well. But there's a lot of reasons why that didn't happen.
Yeah, if they had fostered that.
Yeah, it kind of says that, that's kind of what Iluvatar would have wanted, for everybody to communicate telepathically, and there's reasons why that doesn't happen.
Right.
But yeah, with both Gandalf and Saruman being Ainur, we have to believe that Osanwe is something that's going to come naturally to both of them. But you're right. Saruman can close his mind and keep Gandalf out. I think the fact that Gandalf can now look into his mind is telling us exactly what you said, which is that Gandalf is now the superior power in that.
He's upgraded, and he is now Saruman as he should have been. More powerful, purer, of course, as well.
Yeah, Gandalf 2.0 has the ability to hack into Saruman 1.0.
I'm saying now it's turning into like a Matrix or
or
Shadowrun sort of. Yeah. And then I love this real subtle insult. He has no woodcraft. It's an insult, but it's so simple. He has no woodcraft.
And it's probably worth talking about. I mean, I think this is probably obvious, but this isn't a knock on his carpentry skills. This isn't,
he doesn't know how to use a miter saw.
He's a terrible whittler. It's nothing like that. He
can't even make a table leg.
Right. Exactly. He's got no woodcraft. I just felt like this was a good opportunity for a little bit of slight word nerdery.
Of course, always. We always have time for
whenever
good
I
word
get a
nerdery.
chance.
Yeah.
So today the word craft means technical skill in a trade, craftsmanship, you know.
Yeah.
But the earlier meaning of the word in Old English was basically just skill or knowledge or mastery in a certain field, which could include knowledge gained through study. And I think that's what it means here. Gandalf is
Yeah.
saying Saruman has no knowledge. He hasn't studied woods. He hasn't learned anything about forests. And I think that's what he's saying here.
Well, and of course he doesn't, because he's an ivory tower. Ivory tower type. He's an obsidian tower type, as the case may be. So he has no purpose in this, no point in knowing about the woods. The only thing he needs to know about the woods is how quickly he can knock them down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So he hasn't spent any time studying them. He has no idea what could be going on in there.
Right.
Honestly, he has no idea of quite a few important things, actually.
That is true. That's true.
Like we see here, he doesn't even know whether his orcs had the hobbits or not.
No, and he doesn't even know about the fight with the Mordor orcs, and he doesn't know, you really should know about this. He doesn't know about the winged messenger.
That would be a good piece of knowledge to have.
It would, wouldn't it? Knowing that the most terrifying weapon of your enemy is now winged.
Is now back and on wings.
Yeah.
Probably need to factor that into your calculations,
Probably.
But oh well.
Yeah, too late now.
So Legolas says, that thing, I remember that thing. I shot him from the sky. No, you think you did, but you only shot his steed. I mean, hey, good job.
Yeah, kudos. Slow clap.
But he's going to get another steed. And by the way, you can't slay this guy with arrows anyway.
No, you can't. He's a Nazgul. And now, joy of joys, they ride upon winged steeds.
Right.
We're so hosed.
And apparently have reserves of them too.
Yeah. Oh, it's no big deal. Got remounted right away.
Yeah.
And then this foreshadowing, their terror is going to overshadow the llast armies of our friends. Holy smokes, man. This is not good.
Cutting off the sun is not a tactic that we're prepared to respond to.
No, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do to counter that, but it's a problem. Yeah.
Like Monty Burns, going to block out the sun.
Yes, that's right. Man. Excellent.
But one bright spot, they can't cross the river yet. And again,
even in the air, this is pretty cool, right? I mean, this is obviously more of a tactical move.
That's a good point. We talked about this way back when about the Nazgul and sort of this idea of undead not being able to cross rivers.
They don't want to cross the river. They don't want to go across the water.
And we saw that with, we saw that back when we were at Ford of Bruin.
Yeah, Ford, that's right.
But they can't even cross the river on wings.
Yeah, which is pretty funny because really the water's not going to touch you.
They're not going to get their feet wet, but
clearly. But this is a tactical move. This is Sauron holding his most powerful weapon in reserve, which is wise, right? You want your enemies to be lulled into the thought that they might be able to beat you.
Yeah, and then bring the Nazgul out.
You want that.
And then bring the Nazgul out.
And crush them like the bugs they are.
Exactly, yeah. So Saruman doesn't know anything about them yet.
No, instead he's thought, silly things. He hasn't even thought about these big picture things. He's wondering about these other things like, I wonder if the ring was in the battle. What if Theoden gets it? And that's really the only thought he has. So he's going to go ahead and increase his assault on Rohan. He's thinking small scale at this point. He's still micro. Yeah.
Right. While completely ignoring the macro threat on his doorstep.
Yeah.
And when I say macro, I mean macro.
14 feet tall and really, really mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barking mad, you might say. Treebeard.
Mad.
The big threat on his doorstep.
Oh, man. He is not happy.
No.
With a K. I had to wait for that one to sink in.
That was a good one. Yeah. It took a second.
Oh, man. Yeah. That was terrible.
No, it was great. I loved it.
His anger is running around in concentric circles. Sorry. It's flowing like sap through his veins. No, quite literally.
Indeed. Oh my gosh. You thought we were done with bad tree puns.
We're never done with bad tree puns and tree jokes, folks. Never happens.
Nope.
Never happens.
Always happy to go out on a limb with some new ones.
Oh, no.
All right. Let's leave that there.
Oh, I'm so done with this. I'm so done with this. I pine for the days when we stopped telling tree jokes. All right. So, once again, we don't read this, but Aragorn's like, who is this Treebeard? I don't know what you're talking about. And then Gimli asks that really good question You know what? We'll talk about it in a minute. I'll read the next passage. We'll come back to that, okay?
Okay, cool.
Sound like a plan? All right.
Yep.
So I'm going to skip quite a bit, though. But the hobbits, Legolas broke in. We have come far to seek them, and you seem to know where they are. Where are they now? With Treebeard and the Ents, said Gandalf. The Ents, exclaimed Aragorn. Then there is truth in the old legends about the dwellers in the deep forests and the giant shepherds of the trees? Are there still Ents in the world? I thought they were only a memory of ancient days, if indeed they were ever more than a legend of Rohan. A legend of Rohan, cried Legolas. Nay, every elf in Wilderland has sung songs of the old Anadrim in their long sorrow. Yet even among us they are only a memory. If I were to meet one still walking in this world, then indeed I should feel young again. But Treebeard, that is only a rendering of Fangorn into the common speech. Yet you seem to speak of a person. Who is this Treebeard? Ah, now you are asking much, said Gandalf. The little that I know of his long, slow story would make a tale for which we have no time now. Treebeard is Fangorn, the guardian of the forest. He is the oldest of the Ents, the oldest living thing that still walks beneath the sun upon this middle earth. I hope indeed, Legolas, that you may yet meet him. Merry and Pippin have been fortunate. They met him here, even where we sit. For he came here 2 days ago and bore them away to his dwelling far off by the roots of the mountains. He often comes here, especially when his mind is uneasy and rumors of the world outside trouble him. I saw him 4 days ago striding among the trees, and I think he saw me, for he paused. But I did not speak, for I was heavy with thought and weary after my struggle with the Eye of Mordor. And he did not speak either, nor call my name. Perhaps he also thought that you were Saruman, said Gimli. But you speak of him as if he was a friend. I thought Fangorn was dangerous. Dangerous, cried Gandalf, and so am I, very dangerous. More dangerous than anything you will ever meet, unless you are brought alive before the seat of the Dark Lord. And Aragorn is dangerous, and Legolas is dangerous. You are beset with dangers, Gimli, son of Glóin, for you are dangerous yourself in your own fashion. Certainly the forest of Fangorn is perilous, not least to those that are too ready with their axes. And Fangorn himself, he is perilous too, yet he is wise and kindly nonetheless. But now his long, slow wrath is brimming over, and all the forest is filled with it. The coming of the hobbits and the tidings that they brought have spilled it. It will soon be running like a flood. But its tide is turned against Saruman and the axes of Isengard. A thing is about to happen which has not happened since the elder days. The Ents are going to wake up and find that they are strong. What will they do? Asked Legolas in astonishment. I do not know, said Gandalf. I do not think they know themselves. I wonder. He fell silent, his head bowed in thought.
Wow. So, yeah, lot to unpack there.
Yeah, a lot, including stuff that we didn't read, right?
Yeah, so let's go back to talk a little bit about some of the stuff we didn't read, as you hinted that we would. Mm-hmm. First of all, after the passage that I read, when Gandalf just first mentions Treebeard, Aragorn's immediate response is, wait, hang on. You're talking to yourself again, boomer.
Need a judge's ruling on this one, yeah.
We've got no idea who this Treebeard is.
Can we get some context on this?
Right, yeah. A little explanation here, please, sir.
Please,
and, you know, look, I've guessed a lot of this, but I still don't get why being here is good.
Right. I don't understand the point of being here because really we just wasted a bunch of time.
Right.
And before he answers, though, Gimli's like, wait, I've got a question too, by the way. Was that you or Saruman we saw? Totally unrelated.
Gimli can't let go of the old man from the other night.
Can't let go. No.
And
Gandalf, of course, says, it wasn't me, so I think it was Saruman, and frankly, I excuse your suspicion. It totally makes sense given that.
And I love his explanation as to why he excuses it. I mean, look, after all, I myself have told you to suspect even yourself when dealing with the
Trust
enemy.
Nobody, right?
Yeah, trust no one.
Mm-hmm.
And I love also this brief thing about, hey, maybe you'll see us both together soon and judge between us.
Yeah.
Because that is going to happen in just like 4 days, actually.
That's right. Yes, you will. Yeah.
And then, of course, Legolas jumps in, but like, wait, hey, hang on. Hold up.
Yeah, before you answer the Treebeard thing, what about the hobbits?
Before you answer the question that was asked before the question that you just answered, answer this question.
Right.
What about the hobbits?
Yeah, well, they're with Treebeard and the Ents, which sounds like a really nice, like 1959, 1960 Motown group.
For sure.
Treebeard and the Ents. Yeah.
Yep.
Aragorn, of course. Ents? Wait a minute. They were just a legend of the Rohirrim. Now, this is Aragorn, by the way. This isn't Merry or even Gimli, who can be excused for not knowing very much. This is Aragorn.
Aragorn, who just 3 chapters ago was reminding Éomer about the fact that legends usually have some truth at the heart of them, right?
Right. Legends walking on the green earth. That's right.
Yeah.
But, of course, that was hobbits. These are walking trees, which is a little too outside the box for Aragorn, I would say.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Apparently so. And Legolas is quick to jump in here and say, wait, hang on. No. The Ents are not just a legend of Rohan. All the elves back home. Like, no, man, in my day, when I was in school, we all were talking about the Ents.
That's right.
We all knew the Ents. Like, we discovered the Ents way before they were popular, man.
We knew all about their sorrow, man.
Yeah, all about their sorrow.
Kind of like knowing somebody on a diet, isn't it? I mean, if you know about them, you know their sorrow. They're always like talking about, oh, I can't eat that.
I can't eat that.
I say that, good. Of course, being on both sides of that coin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, though, I just can't help but wonder, Legolas, that would have been useful information a while ago. By the way, when we talked about Fangorn, it might have been useful for you to mention that Ents are real.
Because he just said like, oh yeah, I've heard about the Anadrim before, and that was it. That was all he said a few chapters ago. And now he's like, oh yeah,
we all know them.
Yeah, we all know that story.
I mean, they're old, and I didn't know they were still around, but yeah, would have been nice.
Apparently we know of their sorrow though. So it's like you haven't just heard of them, you know some stories about them.
Yeah, you listen to their mixtapes, yeah.
Right. I'm imagining Treebeard holding up the boombox, playing Peter Gabriel.
In your eyes.
That's the one.
Yep. That's right. Playing that outside Finn Brethel's window.
Yeah, exactly.
Late at night. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, Legolas is like, no, we know about the Ents. And, I'd feel young if I met one.
Yeah. Which is saying something.
This is an interesting observation. It is saying something because, we don't know exactly how old Legolas is, but we do have some
we don't
clues.
Have an answer in the text. It's true.
Right. In the next chapter, we read of the establishment of Rohan, Legolas saying something like, 500 times have the red leaves fallen in Mirkwood and my home since then, and but a little while does that seem to us. So, okay, if 500 years is just a relatively short time in Legolas's life, that suggests he's pretty old.
Yeah, he's probably not 520 years old. Right. I mean, 500 years is obviously just
500
a short time.
years is a short time, yeah.
But then there's what we learn about elves in Laws and Customs of the Eldar, and that's that elves typically have children early in their lives. And this is where we can kind of get some speculation going. We know that Legolas's father, Thranduil, lived at least some years in Doriath. Now, that's in First Age Beleriand.
Right.
So Doriath was destroyed in First Age 507. So even if he waited another couple hundred years to have children, which still seems like a stretch given what we know, that would mean Legolas is still close to 6,000 years old by this point. So yeah, Ents are old.
Definitely millennia
Really,
old. And so,
really
yeah,
old.
Ents are really, really, really old.
Yeah, yeah. And clearly Legolas is using oil of Olwë. I mean,
of course he is.
How else does he look so good?
That's what he's using. Oil of Olwë. That's the stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, standard by now.
But then he says, but wait a minute, you're saying this name Treebeard. That's just a translation of Fangorn into the common speech. You're talking about it like it's some guy. Like, is there some guy by this name?
Right.
And Gandalf's like, yeah, go back and read those stories again. Treebeard is the oldest of the Ents. He's actually the oldest living thing still walking on Middle-earth.
Okay, back the truck up. We got to talk about that.
Not this again. Come on.
No, not this.
No, please, not this again.
Anything but this.
No.
We do need to talk about the oldest living thing in comparison to Tom Bombadil, don't we? Because he's been called eldest, hasn't he?
He has been called eldest.
Yeah. Well, Hammond and Skull remind us that when talking about this comparison, and I think their advice is really good on this one, it is worth repeating Christopher Tolkien's comment that his father was given to rhetorical superlatives, such as the oldest living thing. I love that.
He didn't mean it.
I can see Christopher Tolkien. Well, my father was given to rhetorical superlatives is what I'm going to call them. I love that.
That's a very kind way of saying
it's a very Christopher way of saying it too.
Exaggerated a little bit.
Rhetorical superlatives. Yes.
I also want to note something that we discussed in the P5 to episode 193.
Mm-hmm.
So this comes to us from Hammond and Skull's Lord of the Rings: A Reader's Companion. Now, Tolkien actually wrote in an unpublished draft letter of 1968 that eldest was the courtesy title of Treebeard as the oldest surviving Ent. And so maybe eldest was just in reference to him being the oldest surviving
eldest
Ent.
of the Ents.
But then Gandalf is now saying that he's the oldest living thing. So
yeah, eldest living thing still walking on Middle Earth is pretty specific.
Yeah.
Tom Bombadil walks on a thin cushion of air, so he's not really walking on Middle Earth.
I still go back to Tom Bombadil must not be a living thing, but
I think you're right.
Kind of
weak,
I
see him as.
I guess, but
I don't know that it is weak. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think we're not much closer to the truth than we were before, but
maybe from now on, I'm just going to have to say rhetorical superlatives because I do love
say rhetorical superlatives. Let's just say he's one of the two eldest things in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along with
we'll refer to both of them as TB.
There you go.
Anyway, regardless of whether or not he's older than Tom Bombadil, and they can duke that out later, I do hope you meet him.
Yes.
Gandalf says.
Yeah, that'd be a great
Merry
thing.
and Pippin did.
Uh-huh.
And, he came here and found them and took them to his home.
I saw him. I saw Treebeard, and I'm pretty sure he saw me, but we didn't speak. Now, again, let's go back to the timeline. This would be the day after, so just the next day after Gandalf struggled with Sauron over Amon Hen with Frodo in the ring. So he was exhausted, as we know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when he talks about how he thinks Treebeard saw him, I'm remembering Merry and Pippin telling Treebeard that Gandalf was dead, and Treebeard was like, okay, if you say so. He was kind of
so hasty. Yeah,
right. He was kind of hesitant. He didn't really refute it. He didn't really respond at all. But he was just like,
but he didn't confirm it or believe it. Yeah,
right. And he was kind of taken aback at the suggestion. But anyway,
yeah.
Gimli saying, well, because we know that Gimli's been thinking of the old man from a couple of nights
for days now.
For days now. He's like, well, maybe he thought you were Saruman.
Yeah.
And also, you're talking like he's a good guy. I thought you said he was dangerous.
I love that.
I love that. So cool. Yeah.
It really is. Gandalf's like, yeah, he is dangerous. Oh, so am I. Remember, you have no weapon that can harm me.
Right.
I am more dangerous than anything you could possibly meet unless you end up before Sauron himself.
Yeah.
I am very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
I am just bad to the bone now.
Danger is my middle name.
That's right. Gandalf Danger Mithrandir.
Yep.
But you know what this made me think of? And I'm actually going to reference something not Tolkien for a while. This makes me think of Lewis's Aslan about danger.
Okay.
And there's a line in there when they're first learning about Aslan, the four Pevensies, and they're talking to the beavers. And Mr. Beaver says, Aslan is a lion, the great lion. Ooh, said Susan. I thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion. Safe? Said Mr. Beaver. Who said anything about safe? Course he isn't safe, but he's good. He's the king, I tell you.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good callback.
Yeah. Treebeard. Treebeard is not safe, but he is good.
He is good.
And yeah, you'd probably be nervous about meeting him. That's a fair thing to say.
Yeah. And Gandalf points out rightly, look, like, danger's everywhere. I mean, like, we're all dangerous in our own way.
This world is not safe anymore, anywhere, at any place.
Right.
No.
Right. And by the way, you guys are all pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Even you, Gimli. Which is kind of what he gets to. I'm dangerous. Aragorn, Legolas. Yeah, I guess you're dangerous too.
And you, I guess. You're kind of dangerous
that
too,
axe,
Gimli.
you're kind of dangerous, yeah.
So yeah, Gandalf says, Fangorn Forest, and Fangorn himself is perilous.
Yeah.
But he's also wise and kind.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. But he's also wise and kind.
Mm-hmm.
Let's discuss that shift in terminology, right? Gandalf calls himself, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli dangerous. But he calls Fangorn, both the forest and the Ent, perilous.
Yeah.
That is a subtle thing.
It is a subtle thing.
But I want to talk about that. Is that significant?
I don't know. I always feel like when Tolkien chooses a word, a specific word, I always feel like there's something significant about it. I've got no explanation for it. I actually looked into the etymology of danger and peril just to see if I could find different shades of meaning. The etymology of the two words is kind of similar. They both came in into like the Middle English period through French.
Mhm.
I couldn't, they both kind of pretty much have the same meaning. They seem to have always kind of had a similar meaning. So
Yeah.
I don't really know that I have much there. The only thing that I can think of is Tolkien loves to use the word perilous in relation to fairy.
Yes. Especially to woods.
That's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, you think about the perilous realm, you think about things like Smith of Wootton Major, and yeah, I mean,
and even the peril of going into Lothlorien.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So maybe he just likes this word perilous in relation to these enchanted woods,
Maybe.
which
maybe.
Fangorn is certainly an example. I don't know. I don't have a ton on it, but
We'd have to do a word study on this. This would be a great little project to use with James Tauber's digital Tolkien project.
oh,
Where you
that
just
would
like
be
build a
great.
word cloud of all the things that perilous is related to versus all the things danger and dangerous is related to.
That would be a great
Wouldn't
project.
that be fun?
Yeah.
Can't wait till that's more readily available for people who aren't just
I know.
scholars.
That's
going to
be awesome.
That will. Well, it is an interesting shift, isn't it? Even if there is nothing of it, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting shift. I'm sure there's something there, and I would love to hear from folks what they read into it.
Yeah.
But regardless of what word he uses, he's definitely dangerous, and his anger is simmering and boiling over.
Oh, this is a bad thing.
It is a bad thing. The entire forest is feeling it, and somebody else is about to feel it.
Somebody else is definitely going to feel it. Merry and Pippin have brought news that is going to cause this anger to run like a flood. And then we're going to get this thing that hasn't happened in a very, 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 very long time.
Hasn't happened since the Elder Days. Yep.
That's right. The Ents are going to wake up and discover that they are strong.
Yeah, and it's been a long time indeed. I mean, we're going to have to go back to the Ruin of Doriath in the Silmarillion to see the last time they actually woke up.
Yeah.
And that was after the dwarves of Nogrod came back for vengeance and to plunder Menegroth. They were met in battle by elves and by Beren on the banks of the river Gelion. And while some seemed to escape, the text tells us that as they climbed the long slopes beneath Mount Dulmed, there came forth the shepherds of the trees, and they drove the dwarves into the shadowy woods of Ered Lindon, whence it is said, came never one to climb the high passes that led to their homes.
Wow. Remember that, because I'm pretty sure we read about the orcs that come out of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
We get something very similar about came never one. I think we do. I may be wrong, but that sounds so familiar.
I think it is something similar to that. It's definitely the same thing happens where none survive, even if it's described a little differently.
Escape.
Yeah.
None shall escape. Yeah.
Exactly.
So Legolas wonders what does that mean that they're going to find out and they're strong? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
And Gandalf's answer, I don't know. And I don't even think the Ents themselves know what they're going to do. Maybe even what they're capable of.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, what will the Ents do? I think they might open Barliman's bag and pass us a message.
Just as long as it's not printed on paper.
Well, yeah, certainly. But after they do, well, the talk still continues all night long at the Prancing Pony.
Of course it does, folks. Our amazing listener community keeps the conversation going in all of our social media spaces.
Yeah.
At our common room on Facebook, you'll find comments, questions, corrections, and more on every episode, as well as updates from us throughout the week. Just look for the Prancing Pony Podcast on Facebook.
And be sure to follow the page and join the group that we've recently created on Facebook. The page is a great way for us to keep you up to date on the latest happenings. It's great one-way communication, talks about our digital moot. The group, on the other hand, gives you a really great chance to discuss Tolkien with your fellow listeners and sometimes with us when we get a chance.
Absolutely. And speaking of great discussions, we also have some really good discussions going on over on Reddit. You can find us there at r/prancingponypod.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well, both with the handle @prancingponypod. And folks, if you're enjoying the show, please share us and consider giving us a review on Apple Podcasts.
And if you want exclusive content like postscripts, full bonus episodes, live Discord events with Sean and me, and episodes without the digital ads, then check out patreon.com/prancingponypod, where you can support the show by joining the Fellowship of the Podcast. Now, let's see what messages Barliman has brought us. Sean.
All right. Alex B. in Clarendon Hills, Illinois asks, according to the appendix, the Astari arrive in Middle-earth around the year 1000 of the Third Age. Now that means that Gandalf was present during much of the decline and disaster that befell the kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor in the intervening years before the destruction of the Ring. Do we have any insight as to what role, if any, Gandalf played in trying to save the northern kingdoms and or prevent the civil wars that divided Gondor? If not, do either of you have any guesses?
Well, we're good at guessing. The
We are
timeline
quite.
does show that Gandalf would have been around during the time of the destruction of the Northern Kingdom by Angmar, along with the time of the Kinstrife in Gondor, not to mention a whole lot of other bad things like Gondor's wars with the men of Harad and the Corsairs of Umbar, the Great Plague, the
Mhm.
appearance of the Balrog in Moria, the fall of Minas Ithil, and a lot more. I mean, frankly, let's be honest, a lot of history goes on when you're around for more than 2,000 years.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion.
Yes.
I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate.
Tannhauser Gate. I love it. Blade Runner.
Is that our first
Great.
Blade Runner reference
That,
on the show?
I think might be our first Blade Runner reference. It's certainly our first Rutger Hauer quote.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, man, that's good. That's good stuff.
But no, I mean, truthfully, we have no evidence to suggest that Gandalf himself was involved in much of that history at all.
If any, yeah.
In fact, some of the bits we get from Unfinished Tales suggest that he wasn't involved in either the Kinstrife or the challenges that faced the Northern Kingdom.
Uh-huh.
Our research assistant, Tanya Plashkova, pointed us to this little bit from the section on the Astari in Unfinished Tales. But his main province was the north, and within it, above all, the northwest, Lindon, Eriador, and the Vales of Anduin. His alliance was primarily with Elrond and the Northern Dunedain Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Peculiar to him was his love and knowledge of the halflings, because his wisdom had presage of their ultimate importance, and at the same time he perceived their inherent worth. Gondor attracted his attention less, for the same reason that made it more interesting to Saruman. It was a center of knowledge and power. Its rulers, by ancestry and all their traditions, were irrevocably opposed to Sauron, certainly politically. Their realm arose as a threat to him, and continued to exist only insofar and so long as his threat to them could be resisted by armed force.
Mm.
Gandalf could do little to guide their proud rulers or to instruct them, and it was only in the decay of their power, when they were ennobled by courage and steadfastness in what seemed a losing cause, that he began to be deeply concerned with them.
Ooh, that is interesting.
That is.
So he doesn't pay a lot of attention to Gondor.
No, I mean, that's clear enough.
Right.
I wonder if maybe the fact that Tolkien refers to him being interested in the Dunedain, the Rangers, he says, I wonder if that's even a suggestion that he didn't get involved with men even in the north until later on, after Arnor had fallen.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he could have been watching them. He could have been, learning about them.
Yeah.
But it seems like maybe his focus was on the Hobbit. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of when the Hobbits ended up there, but he was also interested in the Vales of Anduin, so he might have even known about them before they moved to the Shire.
But I think with all of that political stuff that was going on, I think it probably just made more sense for him to just watch and learn as much as he could, because that really wasn't why he was there, was to
that's
intervene
right.
in that stuff.
And we really do need to remember that the purpose of the Astari wasn't to help keep Middle-earth running smoothly or to fix the political problems or even the military problems that various kingdoms could run into. Here's another quote from that same section that reminds us. Emissaries they were from the lords of the West, the Valar, who still took counsel for the governance of Middle-earth. And when the shadow of Sauron began, first to stir again, took this means of resisting him. For with the consent of Eru, they sent members of their own high order, but clad in bodies as of men, real and not feigned, but subject to the fears and pains and weariness of earth, able to hunger and thirst and be slain, though because of their noble spirits they did not die, and aged only by the cares and labors of many long years. And this the Valar did, desiring to amend the errors of old, especially that they had attempted to guard and seclude the Eldar by their own might and glory fully revealed, whereas now their emissaries were forbidden to reveal themselves in forms of majesty, or to seek to rule the wills of men or elves by open display of power, but coming in shapes weak and humble, were bidden to advise and persuade men and elves to good, and to seek to unite in love and understanding all those whom Sauron, should he come again, would endeavor to dominate and corrupt. It's a long one, really important to get through that. But if I can be allowed a Star Trek analogy, there's frankly a bit of an analogy to the Prime Directive here, isn't there?
Even I get that Star Trek reference. And yes,
Kinda
you're
hoped you
absolutely
might,
right. Yeah.
Didn't want to have to explain that one, Sean.
Yeah, no, even I know that. I mean, and it's just, it's don't interfere, right?
Right, exactly. It's a policy of non-interference. You don't want to get involved with a more primitive culture because you don't want to taint their progress in the way that they develop. Their culture is more important, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that is an absolutely apt analogy for what's going on here.
It
and
is.
it fits with Gandalf's role as a teacher and a lore master and a guide. He's
Right.
not a general. He's not a politician either.
No.
And we see a hint of this in a line from Appendix A that tells us that Faramir welcomed Gandalf at such times as he came to the city, and he learned what he could from his wisdom.
Okay, yeah, teacher.
A wizard's pupil, as his father might say.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah. And again, big hat tip to Tanya for helping us locate some really helpful texts on that one.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Alan? Do we have time for one more?
I think we do. We have a really philosophical question, so we can't get too far afield on this, but we could. If we had more time, this could take all day. This one comes to us from Stephen B. He says, in the music of the Ainur, after the various stages of Melkor's rebellion, Iluvatar shows his power and authority by co-opting Melkor's discordant themes and merging them into a symphony of creation greater than what came before, through the beauty of its depth and tragedy. We also know that the Valar did not have a complete understanding of the music they participated in enacting. So what if this fateful error on their part was literally fated as part of the final, beautifully tragic theme of the music?
Why don't you give us a hard one next time, Stephen? Come on.
Your fault for pulling it, Sean. Wow. Yeah.
Seriously. Wow. That actually is a really, really tough one. A great one, Stephen. So thank you.
Yeah.
But it's really hard. And frankly, I don't think it's one that you can really answer without some kind of reference to, I don't know, maybe not necessarily your own real world beliefs, but at the very least, real world philosophies.
Yeah, somebody's real world philosophies,
right? Real world philosophies, beliefs that you've been exposed to or studied or or read about before, regardless of whether or not it's something you personally believe. I mean,
that's fair.
How to reconcile the existence of evil, or if you want to use a very Tolkienish word, marring.
Yeah, the marring of good.
Yeah, with an all-knowing and all-powerful creator deity, as we see in Iluvatar. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a question asked by philosophers and theologians for literally centuries. I mean, millennia. Yeah. I mean, this is the question of theodicy, right? This is a question that goes back at least as far as the Epicurean paradox in the 3rd century BC, if Epicurus actually said it, which we don't know for sure, and that's a topic for another podcast. But not my podcast,
and not another episode, just a different podcast altogether.
Right. I mean, thinkers throughout history have had thoughts on this question, responses to this question, and it really ranges from early Catholics like St. Augustine down to postmodern atheists in the 20th century.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just so many answers to this question, and I think Tolkien was well aware of that.
I'm sure he was. And let's be honest, it is a really hard question, and like you said, one that's plagued real world theologians and philosophers for a long time. So the truth is, you and I, as Tolkien podcasters, are almost certainly not going to come to a certain answer.
Nope.
As it relates even to Arda's theology, let alone our
not
own.
Anywhere close.
But
it won't stop us
claims here.
No, won't stop us from spitballing a little bit.
No, it won't. And a hat tip, by the way, to Thomas Karat, our research assistant, who helped me find some really interesting angles on this.
Yep.
I mean, I think we have to start by accepting Iluvatar as almost a one-to-one representation of God, of the Judeo-Christian God, as Tolkien's letters clearly suggest. And if that's the case, then we have to conclude that Eru would have known that the discord would take place. Now, that isn't the same as saying that it was intended to take place, just that he knew it would happen through foreknowledge. And that is where we have to go back to this idea of time being a created thing and God existing outside of time. Now, I know we read about the timeless halls and that the Valar entered Arda at the beginning of time, capital T. But we really have to remember that, in a way, time began before that, because the Ainur, even though they are immortal going forward, they have a beginning point and are themselves creatures. They are offspring of the thought of Iluvatar.
Right. So if there's a time before they existed, there is a time. Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's made quite clear by the first line of Ainulindale. There was Eru, the one, who in Arda is called Iluvatar, and he made first the Ainur, the holy ones, that were the offspring of his thought. So made first, that implies sequence, that implies that they have
there
a beginning
a time they didn't exist.
Exactly. Only Eru is eternally self-existent.
Right. He is the uncreated creator. Now, in both Catholic and Protestant thought, time is understood as an element of or a part of creation, which means that God exists outside of time. So he, therefore, in theory, sees all of time simultaneously, which gives him foreknowledge of the decisions made and the actions taken, even though those decisions and actions are made by rational creatures who are free to choose at the time of those choices.
So even before creating the Ainur, Eru would have foreknowledge of Melkor's rebellion,
Right.
which in turn would enable him to, I guess, plan. I don't know if that's the right word. I mean,
there's really not a better one.
It's kind of the best thing I can come up with, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we have to think of planning in a linear way. You're planning for something that's going to happen in the future. In this case, for Eru, he would have seen all of time at once. So it's kind of a different idea. But yeah, it's the best we can use.
He can have a response prepared. Yeah. But
yes,
accordingly, he can be prepared and he can find ways to turn Melkor's foreknown rebellion into something greater, which of course is what we call Spabimi.
Right, which is short for "shall prove but mine instrument," which is that wonderful line from Ainulindale that Eru speaks to Melkor, saying, "I'm going to turn even your evil actions into these amazing things."
Right.
And that's the idea. He would have known, Eru, through this foreknowledge, that Melkor would rebel and take a number of Ainur with him. And while we could speculate that Eru could simply have just created a different universe, one in which no rebellion would take place, we can really only address that which is. And in this case, that means allowing for the discord so that, as we've quoted, it could prove but his instrument in the devising of things more wonderful. It's another one of these both and rather than either or. Eru has foreknowledge and Melkor had free will, not one or the other.
Right.
Even though I confess there are going to be people who say, yes, the foreknowledge precludes the idea of free will. I get that. This is how we're trying to put it forth, but please, we're just armchair philosophers here.
Yeah.
But yeah, within the creation is made by Eru, the discord was, I don't know, again, fated may be too strong a word. Kind of like planned isn't really the right word, but it was at least foreknown. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's it. And again, we are just sort of armchair philosophizing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've got really nothing else that I can add to that explanation.
Well, then we're done here. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I have anything else that sheds any more light on the way you've explained it. I think the way you've explained it is really good. I think the one thing I would add is I think the reason that we have so much trouble with this, we just kind of feel this disconnect in the stories between what Iluvatar knows and what the Valar knows. And I think the reason that we feel that is because Tolkien did something with his fantasy world that nobody else, at least nobody else that I know of, has really done. He wrote a fantasy world that is both technically monotheistic with Eru the One, the creator god,
right,
and also effectively polytheistic.
Oh, that's a good point.
Where you've got, you've got the Ainur, you've got Manwë, the Vala of the air, and you've got a Vala of the earth. And
they each have their little fiefdoms in control of their own little areas, right?
Yeah, and I think this is a really important distinction. It's technically monotheistic because we know that Eru is the only one who's actually a god, but it operates very much like a polytheistic mythology.
Boy, it sure does, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You can count on one hand the number of times that, either Manwë goes to Iluvatar or Iluvatar intervenes directly. Yeah. And Theodicy wouldn't even be a problem with Manwë because we don't attribute full knowledge to him. He's not omniscient.
That's exactly right. Because in polytheistic religions, like you look at your Greek mythology or your Germanic mythology, like Norse, theodicy isn't really an issue because the little g gods of polytheistic faiths are not all powerful. They're not all knowing.
That's right.
They each have their own agenda. They each have their own likes and dislikes. They have their own things they want to do. They have their own struggles.
Yeah.
And like you said, they don't know everything. They only know what they know.
Right.
And so there's always going to be discord between them, and there's always going to be limitations on them, as we see with the Ainur being finite beings, as we talked about. And that's exactly what we see with the Valar. They operate like little g gods. Sometimes they'll disagree, like Ulmo with the rest of them, or sometimes they'll make mistakes. Aule.
Get back in line.
Yeah. And so if you think of the Valar in the context of sort of a polytheistic mythology, Melkor is just kind of like this Loki type figure. He's just kind of a jerk who messes things up and then gets slapped on the hand, gets sent out to the void for a little while, and then he comes back.
Right.
But then on top of that polytheistic framework, Tolkien has overlaid this monotheistic framework that's consistent with his own faith, in which Melkor isn't just like a Loki figure, he's Lucifer.
Yeah, which is a lot worse.
which is quite a bit worse.
Yeah,
And
it
so
is.
you get this difference between little g gods doing their own thing in a polytheistic tradition, and then
Yeah.
big G god has a plan. And I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
that disconnect is really strongly felt in Tolkien's cosmology. And
Yeah,
I think
it
that's
is.
why we struggle with this question so much in Tolkien. And I hate to say it, but I think it's just something we kind of have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think one way to deal with it is this concept of spabimi, which Tolkien himself
Yes.
introduced as a way to explain this. But, hey, we've been
Yeah.
talking about that since what, episode 7? So
Yeah, I mean,
folks know all
long
about
time
that.
ago.
Yeah.
Can't believe we're at 200 episodes, man.
Crazy stuff.
That is. Who knew? Well, folks, that wraps it up for another 200 episodes of the Prancing Pony podcast and for this one. But please be sure to join us again next week when Gandalf doesn't want to hear the name of the Balrog.
Well, now I want to know what his name was.
Yeah. Bob, Jim. I apologize to all Bobs and Jims out there. Sorry.
I think he's a Calvin
Oh, yeah, he could be. He could be.
or a Hobbes. Maybe he's a Hobbes. Well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't any of the following names.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Folks, as always, we want to take a moment to thank some really important people. Our patrons at the Círdan's contribution tier. They are DeMay in Alaska, James in Virginia, Tamsin in Minnesota, Chad in Texas, Lance in New Jersey, Paul in Colorado, Jerry in Texas, Bruce in California, Mario in Utah, Seth in Texas, Ella in California, Joseph in Texas, Kathy from North Carolina, Lori from Washington, Josh in Oklahoma, Carlos in California, Brian from the UK, Cameron in Nevada, Ned from Connecticut, and Thad from Georgia. Thank you all so much for your support.
And we also want to thank the team that helps make the show better. That includes our research assistants, Tanya Plashkova and Thomas Karat, along with our Barliman, Becca Davis, producer Jordan Rennells, social media manager Casey Hilsey, event and Patreon community coordinator Katie McKenna, and website guru Phil Dean.
This show truly would not be what it is without our supporters and our teammates, so thank you all. Now, be sure you don't miss any episodes of the Prancing Pony podcast. Subscribe to the show through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
And one last thing, as always, don't forget to send your thoughts, comments, and, well, most of all, what you'd do if you woke up and found out you were strong, to Barliman at theprancingponypodcast.com.
Probably wake up again and realize I was dreaming.
Nice. Yeah.
So, folks, Barliman is a lot more reliable these
Yeah.
days, but we do get a lot of mail. So please be patient. We'll get back to you as soon as we can, and your question or comment may be featured on a future episode.
As always, this has been far too short a time to spend among such excellent and admirable listeners. But until next time.
Farewell, friends.